Record. Hey everybody, we have our visitor here today, Mr. Jackson. So I'm glad we could have a different time to do a call. I think that everyone just kind of sounds like they want to try to mix it up. Evenings are always next to impossible, mornings are impossible, but at least whoever couldn't get on can catch the replay. So as always, keeping in our new theme with calls, I want us to check in with our 3 pillars of belief. Because what we know about this business is that if we are shaky in one or all of those 3 pillars of belief, it's going to be reflected in the way that we carry ourselves, in the way that we operate our businesses, and in the way that we see the outcomes in our businesses. So remember those 3 pillars of belief are belief in self, belief in the industry, and belief in the product, or belief in self, belief in the product, belief in the industry. And what we know is that anytime we falter on those, people pick up on that. I know that right now I'm struggling. We all struggle with our 3 pillars of belief, but it's really critical that we're always in tune with them. And so I say this every call, but can we just thank God that our belief in the product is pretty unwavering. So Kelly was just talking about, she has a customer who saw her post yesterday and she's been off of ketones. She knows what she needs to do. She knows the ketones help her nutritionally and not overeat. And with, she's trying to quit drinking, so then all she wants to do is eat. She knows this works. She just hadn't been doing. And so many times we have customers, and even ourselves, we know what works, but we don't do the simplest thing that works even, right? Because we're so in our ways. So again, we all get those reports from people on the daily of how ketones work. The ketones and the ketones that we have work 100% hands down. So I think that, that pillar of belief is so strong. And I think about, other products or other companies and other people that are promoting other products, and they have to struggle with maintaining the pillars of belief for all 3. Maybe, they don't believe in their product, or their product isn't backed by science like ours is. So I always like to just highlight and thank God for that, because there's no denying the power of ketones. And whenever I falter in those other areas, I always just hold on to that. How could this not be? How could I not succeed with this product? And how can this industry not succeed with this product? And then I kind of get in alignment with those. So, the belief in ourselves, I think it's really hard sometimes for us to believe in ourselves, especially if we are kind of plugging along, we feel plateaued in our businesses, and we're comparing to others. And I think I just want to remind us all that highlight reels on Facebook are really difficult for us to compare ourselves to. You guys, I haven't been scrolling my Facebook newsfeed because I'm not just in myself or business wise, just in my life, I'm feeling, blue. And I know that scrolling Facebook adds to that, sitting there and watching stories in the morning instead of being in my life. And I'm not perfect. I still catch myself scrolling. So I think one way to really tune into your belief in self is to be aware and limit our social media. So our jobs are so hard. We have the convenience of using Facebook and social media and the internet for our businesses, but it really blurs this line between work and life and play and fun and work. And it really contributes to that lack of belief in self because of the comparison game. And what do we know? What's the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. So I think it's really important that, and I've always told you guys this, I think even back in the Beachbody days, to really set some clear guidelines with social media and to set some boundaries so that you don't fall into that trap. And I'm really guilty of it, but I've been really trying to disconnect, especially at night, to be with my family. And I don't know about you guys, but then sometimes that leaves me feeling like I'm not doing enough. Like if I'm not working this business all the time, then I'm slacking. But in reality, I'm not working the business. I'm scrolling Facebook and like reading comment threads and like feeding my brain with drama and negativity. So, it's really one of those things where I think that just my tip for today with belief in self is to really watch the social media. And to honor the fact that it helps us like run these businesses, but it can be unhealthy for us, for our well-being, for our relationships and everything like that. And then the belief in the industry. It must be you, Megan. Can you hear me tell you that? It's you. If you have to hop off, you can catch the recording too, but if you catch glimpses, Kelly, I'm not frozen for you? Okay. So the belief in the industry, I think this one's a tricky one too. We still, even though, we all know so many direct sellers, community-based marketers, but there's still such a stigma. Like, people have their doubts of this, or, it's just the top people making the money, or it's a scam. Megan says work-life balance on social media is hard. It is so hard. And I don't know the answer to it, but I think just, Megan, you might have missed this, it might have been frozen, is just to remember that we're probably more productive if we set work time and then turn it off than if we're just aimlessly working, scrolling social media the whole time. And like I said, that's why I try to avoid just scrolling the news feed, and I just go into groups, do that, get stuff done, and then really try to, sometimes I'll even delete the apps off my phone. I have like a real addiction to social media and my phone, and Dave and I have struggled with that for years, but it's worth the constant battle. I think we all struggle with that, even if we're not in this business. So the belief in the industry, I think there's always that, difficulty with, is this a pyramid thing? Has it plateaued? Is it still blue ocean? Or even thinking about, sometimes our company like is difficult to deal with. Like, I know we have proof it in our DNA and we're like, okay, AQ, but sometimes that can, like, if we're feeling a little down, and then maybe it's, we're going to Kentucky next week and we don't have a schedule and it's hard and we have childcare, and it can like feed into that. Well, like, what's this company doing? But really just seeing the bigger picture and knowing that, Jackson, you're so cute. It's just, it's refreshing. So like, even with our company and how like let's do this, and like no thought about it, I will take that over a really huge company with a call center in India and having to wait and talk to someone who doesn't know what they're saying. Like, there's so many wonderful things about our company that I think sometimes we don't even realize, or maybe we don't have the prior perspective or other perspective of how other companies are ran to realize why it's so different, and to embrace those challenges that come with the different. Like, no, we don't have an 800 number, because if you have an 800 number, you have a call center, and call centers are tricky and they're usually outsourced. So I just kind of want to talk about that. So that Megan doesn't miss her gym class, because that's super important for moms, and so Kelly can get to her nails and all of that. I'm going to kind of switch gears after talking about the 3 pillars of belief, unless, do you guys have anything to add on that? No. Is that helpful to check in with those every week? Okay. Yeah, because we're all just swimming in this. We're like deep in motherhood and work and life and prove it. So on the COC call the other night, Mitch Newman was talking about, we have ACE, we have Attract, Connect, Enroll. Like, we are masters in that. All three of us on this call, it's kind of like preaching to the choir, right, on this call. But sometimes we're forgetting, like, we're going through the motions, right? Attract, connect, enroll. Attract, connect, enroll. Do a post, do a story, attract, connect, enroll. And a lot of times we're missing opportunity in everyday things. So he just talked about the 3 C's. So the first is connections. So again, if we're connecting with people in real life, connecting with people, you're getting made out with the dog, Kelly. Connecting with people at the grocery store, connecting with people at MOPS, like whatever it is, really think about how really we're in the business of building relationships with people. And I don't want us to feel like, oh, we have an agenda, like, oh, I want to get to know this mom because I want to sell her ketones, but really building friendships. So like, I met a mom on Instagram. She just had an ectopic pregnancy and surgery right around the time that I had my surgery. And we kind of connected over that. Like, hers is much more traumatic and involved a pregnancy loss, but we've connected over that. She tried ketones. She's not really ready for them. I've let go with that, but I'm still like messaging her and talking to her and like building a relationship with her, and just, you know, realizing that we can be strangers on the internet. I know Katie Rollins, I always just put him on the boob when he squirms. Katie Rollins always talks about like just really building real friendships and connections with people. Then the next C he talks about is conversations. So, you know, I'm not, again, it's not, you know, if we are in a place in our business where we're like, I don't feel like I'm growing, I want you to just think about, in the last 10 days, what kind of connections have you made? I know that was an eye-opener for me because I haven't been really like adding new people and engaging with new people. So what kind of connections have you made, and what kind of conversations have you had? Maybe not so much on social media, because we don't want to get those cold, we don't want to go to those cold messages. Like, we've all been there and done that. But, you know, I was at a wedding last weekend and I had the big obnoxious ketones versus glucose on my car. And I was telling Dave, I was like, I'm so embarrassed by that right now. Like, I don't want to, like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this girl's like advertising like crazy. And like, that was a misconnection, because people would kind of ask me about it and I'd be like shy. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's just a thing, you know? So I missed a lot of connections and being like, oh, hey, like, let's drink one. I have lots of ketones. Let's drink one. I know you're like tired, the wedding weekend, you're hungover, like whatever it is. I missed a lot of conversations there. And so Mitch was just talking about, like, how many times do you walk away from a conversation when you had an in, like, somehow or another, ketones would have been appropriate for the conversation, whether it's that you're a biohacker and you have a business and you help people get into ketosis, or whether they're talking about, you know, how tired they are, how good you look, or, you know, I love your hair, or whatever it is. There's usually like an in for that. And I always think about Christy Tucker. When she was really into promoting, she would like strike up conversation, even just for practice, with the lady at the grocery store ringing up her groceries, and just be like, have you ever heard ketones? You know what I mean? And like, probably wasn't gonna sell ketones to the cashier, but just having practice and bringing that up. Like, maybe the person said, wow, like, your food is really healthy, like everything you're buying is healthy, and then have that lead into ketones. And, you know, we don't want to be like, you know, we don't want friends and family to be like, oh my gosh, Amber's going to talk about ketones. So, you know, we need to know there's appropriate and there's limits. And if you've already talked to someone about it and they're not interested, like, just keep living your best life and exuding your energy. And you don't have to talk about it, but you can show. That's how we prove it. We've always just proved it. I mean, like, look at Megan at the gym right now. She's about to rock it. She's about to prove it. I'm sure she has her ketones, and Kelly always has her keto gear. So we have connections, we have conversations, and we have community. Again, I'm preaching to the choir because you girls are plugged into community, but I think we could all be better at this too. You know, Sometimes there's a week that goes by that we're not on a call, or we're not plugging into replays or the Prove It promoter community. So I think it's really important to recognize that. I know that last week, Kelly, you weren't on the call, but Megan and Lauren and I kind of shared our hearts that we were kind of in a funk, and we realized it's been 3 months since we've been, if not longer. It's been, for me, 3 months since I've been to an event. And Kelly, like, you've been to one event. And you come out of that so high, and slowly but surely life knocks you down. And it is expensive, and it is inconvenient, and it is all that. But anytime you can get into Prove It community is amazing. And that's why that's really cool that they're doing these playbook events. Number one, the tickets are like $30 to get there, and they're more regional. So Kelly, we need to get you to the next regional one. We'll really work towards that. And so just community. So, you know, we can't always afford to go to an event.
Hi, Kelly.
But being there. And I think,
quiet? Hi.
Hi.
Quiet.
At one point we were good at getting together live, you know, doing things together. And it's hard. We're all like in the throes of motherhood and life.
I'm hungry.
Okay, I'll go help you in 1 minute.
I need something.
Okay, I'll go help you in 1 minute. So just building that sense of community, and I think that
I'll get something.
I think our team lost a little bit of that community, and I apologize for not always leading that way. I always just thought, you know, I'm going to plug people into another community higher up, and what we see, there's been shifts and changes in that community. Megan, are you still listening? Are you working out now? I think she might be working out. Well, that's pretty. That's breakable.
I think
are you still listening?
I think she left.
Okay, I see her.
Okay.
Oh. So Megan, I was just gonna, like, speaking of bigger community, I wanted to just plug you. I just wanted to plug you into some stuff that's going on. It might be a non-issue, but I didn't want something to come out and then you be like, why didn't Amber ever tell me? So I just wanted, if you have like 5 more minutes. So we know that and I told Kelly a little bit about this. We know that Jody started selling the clothes with Maverick, right? And then, you know, she kind of went through a phase where she was just feeling overwhelmed with Prove It and with everything, and just said she wasn't going to be mentoring new people. Then, you know, about a month ago, I just remember seeing how much passion she was having for ketones again and doing ketones again, and I was super pumped. I'm sure you guys noticed that too. Well, something happened, and someone turned Jody into compliance, saying that, you know, she's selling something else and trying to recruit Prove It people, which she hasn't. I mean, I think she'll even turn people away because they told her she couldn't sell Maverick clothes to anyone in the community. So, long story short, someone turned her in, and that was 4 weeks ago, and they suspended her account. And it's been suspended ever since. They're saying that she can work another company because it's non-competing, but she can't use Facebook to work her other business. And, you know, so they're going back and forth with like what the policies and procedures really state and all of that. Her account is still suspended. But I wanted to let you guys know that I'm hoping that they continue to let her sell ketones. Like, she wants to sell ketones. She wants to sell ketones. She doesn't really want to do like team building. So I'm mentoring any new people that approach her about promoting. I'm mentoring them. And other teams have been placed in mentorship pods, right? And I hope you guys feel like I'm an appropriate mentor for you and have been an appropriate mentor. But that's what's going on. And unfortunately, in this, some people have, created drama around it. I've tried to insulate you guys from that drama because it doesn't affect our businesses. If they terminate Jody's business, it doesn't affect us. If she continues, it doesn't affect us, right? We need to keep our heads down. If they terminate her, it's sad, and Jody and I have talked about this, but we have our vision and we continue. And I mean, we can talk about that if that happens, but I'm hoping that they let her continue. What happened? Are you okay? Okay, let me help you. So I just wanted to clue you guys in on that and just ask that if stuff does happen, that we are aware of the drama. Because like I said, there's been some drama, and at the end of the day, if Jody is terminated, again, it doesn't impact us one bit. We might have an opinion about maybe that's not right, or maybe, yeah, that is right. You can't do two things. Whatever our opinion is, that's fine, but it doesn't impact what we do. And if they let her stay and she continues to sell ketones, we know that she's still there. And I ask that if you like, people have come to me asking questions, and I'm like, go talk to Jody, because a lot of people are not talking to her. They're assuming things or falling into the drama. And so, I just ask that we just keep our heads on us and focus on our vision and keep going. Because in this industry, people have this tendency to think that, oh, I don't have an upline, or I don't, Kelly, we've dealt with this with part of your team too. It's like, this is you. Yeah, we have supports and we have systems, but it's us, guys. So whatever happens, we just want to sell ketones. And but I did want to kind of clue you guys in on that, because it's still unresolved. Her account is still frozen, and if her account gets reinstated, you're welcome to ask her about it, or we can just continue on doing our thing and loving Jody. Like, for me personally, Jody's my friend, and we've made a decision from the very beginning that business and friendship won't get in the way, no matter what happens. So, and I think you guys are friends with her too. We've all known each other for years. But yeah, thanks, Megan. Thank you for just knowing something was going on, and taking the higher road and just waiting to be filled in. And I hope you waited so long to fill you in. I actually didn't want you to, because I'm hoping it just goes away. But if it doesn't, I don't want you to say, why didn't you tell me? So go work out, Megan. We can chat later if you need more info. And Kelly, go get your nails done. And I love you, ladies. Let's go sell some ketones. Okay, bye.